So welcome to the Mac OS evaluation Microsoft Endpoint Manager versus Workspace ONE. We're going to start with going over DEP and seeing what has changed. So we'll start with our friend MEM, Intune, whatever you want to call it. So you can see here, I'm going in to create my enrollment token, which is where you set up your settings. So I'm going to hit Mac OS. And so let's just cover what we have going on here. So enroll at Affinity. What's interesting, one thing they've added this year that's actually better than what Workspace ONE is doing is the ability to do modern authentication, which will allow you to actually authenticate during enrollment with Azure AD, provided you have the Azure AD integration going on with Apple, which is a pretty cool option, I think. You know, it's actually a really good job kind of taking the pulse of where we're going and what's going on. And then let's also look at Setup Assistant. For the most part, this is mostly the same. There's a few new settings in here. But you have all your stuff that you can kind of hide or show, location services, restore, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, that's the extent of what they're doing. And that's okay. That's what they're doing. So let's look at what our friends at VMware are doing. So now if we go in here, we're going to take a look at what we have. So custom enrollment, real big deal now. You can see here it talks about, it's going to take the web enrollment settings from settings, devices and users, general enrollment. And we'll look at that real quick. And so what they talk about a lot, is kind of like the customization stuff. So they're going to pull settings out of here that they would be using during web enrollment. And all different types of settings. And these are all different things that are configured throughout. And then you can see on their optional prompts, they talk about, they're going to prompt you, they could prompt you for this or prompt you for that. And then their Mac OS, specifically the thing that's important is the post-enrollment onboarding experience, which is super cool. And we'll cover that shortly. So going back, so authentication on, device ownership type. Like I said, pretty straightforward. And then you've got the same kind of stuff we had before. You want auto advanced setup, awaiting configuration, which is pretty cool. Waits to see if, before stuff is installed before moving on. And then you've got the same, pretty much more or less almost the same settings as we had previously, right? And they continue to adapt with new OS version stuff. But obviously the thing the real major takeaway is the fact that they're still supporting this great Apple spec around creating admin accounts, rotating credentials, all that. So you can create a new admin account, call it whatever you want to call it, unique random password, whether or not you want to hide it. So like I said, they're obviously doing a lot more than what Microsoft is doing at this point. But that's it. That covers where we're at with that.